Alright, this is going to be another attempt at a, save inefficient city. Um, I'm not going to go into a lot of details on why it's inefficient. It's pretty obvious. I mean, just take it for what it's worth. You can still have an inefficient city, and it doesn't have to die. You won't be getting huge populations with an inefficient city, but you can still have fun. It's not the end of the world. Alright, so here we go. We're gonna start off with pretty much disabling everything and reassigning our workforce a little better. Alright, we've got 40 students, so we'll put them into the workforce. I'm not going to be using foresters. He's going to need woodcutters. We'll go ahead and kill the food too for now, for a second, just so we can get everybody, try to get them on the same page. Let's see here. What I want to do first, explain first. I don't know. I'm just going to jump right in. Most buildings I'm going to reduce to 1. Actually, I'm going to leave the trading post on 2, just so they can get the food out. And he's got 1,000 leather, so I will I'm going to put a couple of hundred in each trading post in case we get lucky with a trade ship that can give us some tools. Let me scroll around a little bit. Got a little lag. Alright, I'm gonna need logs, so I don't want to be trading them because I don't have any foresters, and plus, in fact, I might have to do some of that manually too. Alright, so I got them on 2. Next, same thing with the I do this to limit myself. I know you can just say, well, there's 5 markets, so just put 5 people and hope it works out. Well, I may want this market to have 2 people in it later, so when I bump it up, I don't want this market to have 2 and this market to have 1, because I've got everything bumped up and it just puts it automatically where it wants to. I want to micromanage a little bit better than the auto does. Alright, let's see. We'll go ahead and disable these mines, and we'll, I'm not going to have any builders, so they didn't already put the resources in here, so I don't have to follow these, but I will, just because the power sign sticks out a little bit. It might be easier to find it. Alright, that's empty, so let's disable that one. Where was I at? Oh yeah, he's got some buildings up here that's in the process of being resources taken to them, and building. We'll go ahead and disable that crap too. Alright, Now right now it's mid-autumn, and I would have preferred to got this save earlier. In fact, you should never let it get this bad. uh, but anyway, so we're gonna leave. Like this orchard has two, and this one has three. We'll just leave that alone for this year. Um, Gatherers are fast food collectors. Wish I had 400, but we'll just leave that. All right, I want my traders to get that stuff moved around in stock over there. Vendors. The efficiency of his town is just, well, it's just not there. So markets create efficiency for areas, and we'll just use them, even though I don't like to use markets that much. Not unless I'm filling up population. I don't like to build the infrastructure and everything. Using markets. I'd rather add that later. But anyway, let's see, miners, teachers. Tools are kind of low. That reminds me. Anyway, me unpositively clear them students out of school, and so I can put them to work. Let's see. He's gonna have huge die-off. He's gonna have more than 22 people die, so there's really no point in having them, but I guess I will. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and put 7 in there too on a herdsman. Just for leather, wool, stuff like that. Before I forget, I'm going to switch my tailors to warm coats. He has wool, so that's a good thing. I could point out all the little bad things he's got, but he's got some good stuff going on, so embrace it. Dang, where's the other tailor? There it is. Oh, he's got that on warm coats already. Nice. We'll let some people die off. Wow. I might as well go ahead and reduce this. Dang it. We'll go ahead and dismiss this. Alright. To be honest, the timing of this is a little important, but what we're going to do now is we're going to disable houses with no food for sure. It's a little early to do that. Well, I ain't gonna say it's too early, but sometimes you can wait a little bit to do this because people haven't finished dying yet, so it might end up a little different than it is right this second. So we'll just disable a few here and there. Wow. The ones without fuel and food, they're definitely getting disabled. Some people might say, well, why don't you just disable the wooden shacks first, since they're going to burn more fuel. Well, if I disable this. And there's, you know, there's food in there. So it'll take a while. I'm not going to have a good labor force to move this food out. So, you know, let's just take it, you know, what we got, and so unpause it. Let them people keep dying. Whew. Man. In fact, we're going to let them die till about winter. Oh. That's why I don't like playing on 10 speed. Still got a lot of people dying. Harvest is almost over. So whatever food I got at the end of this is what I got. Alright. It's early winter. Oh, they're still doing a little harvesting. We're going to let them finish this up. A little bit more. Wow. Alright, anyway. So that's it for the farmers. They're not harvesting anymore. Now they're moving stuff. They're pretty much laborers right this second. So I'm going to go in and we're going to make this adjustment. All orchards are going to be dropped to 1 and disabled. All farms are going to be dropped to 1. There's a pretty big farm right there. You know, you can micromanage even more. You can get that. Oh, I want 2 people on that guy. You don't want a lot of people. I mean, I know you might lose a little harvest from time to time here and there, but right now everything is in such bad shape that, you know, losing a couple hundred here and there ain't that big a deal. It really ain't. Alright, now this orchard right here, they're planted but they're not full grown. I don't know whether to leave that running or not. I'm just going to leave it running. You know, it's not something I've tested and know for sure how it works, so I'll just be safe than sorry. About that right this second. It's kind of tough doing this when you didn't build a city. It really is. It's a lot tougher than it, you know. Hard to remember where everything is. Believe it or not, you could probably build the biggest crop you can, and one person can get that harvest in a really good city and micromanaging. You know, one person can get the whole harvest. You might lose a little here and there, maybe, you know, but still, you know, that's pretty good. Like I said, it all depends on how nice, efficient your city is and how much you micromanage. The more you micromanage, the more you can, you know, get out of it. Personally, I find my balance of micromanagement and auto and all that stuff. Alright, we got 39 farms and we got disabled orchards. So let me just quickly go over and see if there's one or two I missed anywhere. Don't really, ain't a big deal if I did, so ain't the end of the world, in other words. Alright, so we don't need farmers, but we got 38 farms, and it's helpful to remember that number. So when you disable your orchards, you know, after the harvest, and then you go to enable them and stuff like that, you can kind of remember. Anyway, so we don't need farmers. What we do need is we need every other food worker working. And we got a pretty big labor force, and 9 people starving, a couple people freezing. Alright, we'll go through and we'll disable some houses again if they're lacking food. Since food is an issue, harvest is over, you only have 710. There's a couple things you can do with this labor force. It's still going to be some die-off, so don't forget that. Damn. All houses have food, it looks like. Oh, there's one. So what does that mean? We got hunger up here. So that must mean that it's walking. They're starving to death because they're walking. Well, it's probably a little bit of combination of both right now. Of walking and the houses not having food earlier, and they're still hungry and all this yada yada. So I don't know. Let's unpause it just a second. Another second. Alright, we got a pretty big labor force. I'm gonna grab some iron with that labor force. I'm gonna cut down these trees right here. Switch that to plant, because I'm gonna cut down these trees right here and let them regrow with that. It's just to give this guy something to cut right here. What I'm really praying for is a trade ship with steel tools and coal. Oh, I know what I need to do. Well, I got a pretty good labor force. Let's get some warm coats on these people. Warm coats, that's less firewood and coal you use to keep warm. So granted, I might make some mistakes during this. This is my first help tutorial, whatever. So I'm kind of winging it. Late winter. Alright, I'm going to take a good look at the houses again real quick. See if anything stands out. Looks pretty good. Except for the freezing. Well, we'll just have to let them boys freeze. That's all I can tell you. spring is in there. Alright, so we'll pause it. Alright, you only need 38 farmers. You don't need anybody on orchards. They don't need a worker to grow, just to harvest. So, didn't that just, that killed my labor force, but it ain't the end of the world. Tools are gonna go pretty quick, especially if I turn these mines on for coal. We'll go ahead and start reducing these. I'm gonna go ahead and start switching some of these blacksmiths to steel, but not all of them, just a couple. When autumn gets here, I'll flip these back on and give them workers. I could disable a few more houses to try to get things better, but like I said, I'm only going to focus on disabling the food issue right now. I'm attacking the food issue, and I'll get the wood, tools, and everything in control sometime or other. Probably not in this video. I don't want to make it too awfully long. Just try to give some, a little bit of pointers, a little bit of insight on micromanaging, to get out of a bad situation. It's better to get out of the bad situation sooner, but it is what it is. I could probably get some traders. Oh, still got people dying. Sad. How much? And that's another thing too. When you have a big labor force, which I don't right now, but if I did, and I will after the harvest have a good labor force again. They'll empty these buildings that would be demolished if I had builders, but they will empty the stuff out of them. Alright, well, there's really no food in this market. Oh well, I don't have any much food anyway, but there's a lot in that one. See, that's what I'm talking about. I might bump that up to 2 now. In fact, we will. And we'll reduce it if it starts getting, it's got a lot in there. Alright. Dang. No tools. We'll take that, we'll take that coal though. That coal's a big deal. It'll help with the wood situation, so got a little lucky there. Got a little unlucky there. Of course, I could buy some food. This is pretty low. 700 food is pretty dang low. Got 7 people starving. Let's look at the houses. The houses ain't empty, so I think I'm gonna disable these 2 guys up here. That's a lot of walking right there. I think I am gonna buy a little bit of food. See if I can. Normally I wouldn't. We'll just Uh, I don't know if it matters what they eat. I don't know if some food is better than others as far as their lasting longer before they get hungry. I don't know about that. So we'll get them a little bit of a variety. Maybe help with their health a little bit since I don't have a herbalist going. Which I could probably turn that on. This little bit of food will help. Let's get the traders working. I've already started harvesting. Nice. So I probably shouldn't have wasted my leather on that food. I'd have been fine. I mean, these people dying are going to die anyway. That house should have food in it. They're 70. They're not doing anything but working. They're not having babies, so I don't know. If they die, ain't that big a deal, I don't think. Late summer. $500 food, everything looking good. Pretty much. I mean, you know, I'm probably going to up this. Let these guys fill out a little bit more. You know, move them cattle over here, put chickens in here kind of thing. You know, maybe he wants his cattle right there. Maybe he likes the look of that, so I ain't gonna do it. But of course I'm not doing this for him, but I just want to keep that, you know, try to keep the mindset of I am doing this for him. Alright, so starvation's pretty much up. It's pretty much, it's low. It's very low, so we'll turn all these back on. All these orchids, they still ain't got food there, but really ain't a lot of food to give them yet, so alright, 16 tools. I need to keep that in mind. Oh, thought it had some yield. I guess not. I think I got them all. Alright, so, we got a tool issue coming up here. So I think what I'm gonna do is, we'll just leave the fisherman low, I reckon, and we'll put some tool workers out there. I got a little bit of coal, not much, and it went mostly to houses. That's why the firewood's finally picking back up. If I was to go this route and I added 10 miners. It'll be 5 each. Tools will wear out faster. Miners wear tools out pretty quick, but we're gonna do it anyway. In other words, we're gonna kind of create a little issue so we can fix it. Everything's looking actually pretty good here. 3 people are still hungry. I ain't sure if it's walking deaths. I ain't gonna really worry about it. 1 or 2 deaths from people walking ain't a big deal to me. No food up here, but you know, I hate markets. I mean, I don't hate them for what they do. I just hate that, you know, they're used before they're really understood by folks, you know. Autumn's doing good. Taylor's doing good. 75. That's a lot. Alright, I need a trade ship with steel tools and coal. Oh man, I didn't forget to switch my mines, did I? I think I did. Oh, I did. See there? It's easy to make mistakes. Easy. Food's getting up there. Still got a couple of hungries here and there. But, you know, dang, I can't remember what the citizens were at the start of the save. I might load that up just for the end of the video just to see where I'm at and where it was at the save. Alright, winter's here. Get rid of that. Get rid of the fishermen. Add the fishermen. Don't need farmers. 26 workforce. Alright, now that I've got miners and stuff, you need my laborers to get this kind of stuff. But, you know, I don't have foresters. I got wood there, so these guys, these woodcutters, have some logs, you know, not efficiently close, but, you know, close enough. They can get the job done. Got logs there. Huh. What the hell happened to them logs? I mean, he cut them all up. So if I wanted to, I could, you know, go through the same process of, you know, I could disable for the other forestries and put this guy on one. You know, it'd be easier to do it that way. Of course, I got a decent labor force, and I can just go chop some wood down, really. But you don't want to chop a lot of wood down because you still got stuff that needs to be done by the labor force. So if you was to remove resources and do this whole area right here, you know, you just pretty much suicided your town at this point when you're already hurting. You know, there really ain't a lot more I can say about saving a town. I guess I could talk about efficiency, but that would probably make a new video, a new tutorial, maybe. I don't know. We're gonna see how this does. As you can see, there's still some cold issues here, you know, but they're cold, freezing issues, I should say. Um, early spring. Early spring is here again. Disable the orchids. Cause I don't want my workers going to them. I want them going to the I never really paid attention to, like, if you just put it on auto, just if I didn't do this and just said, well, I think it was 38 farms, and if I just put 38 in there and seen what happened, I don't think it's efficient. I just really don't. So if you're going to micromanage, you might as well micromanage. Plus, oh yeah, definitely, I know what I need to talk about. You want to get your herbalist up, and you want to get a cleric in there. Get some happiness and health up, of course. Things run better when it's like that. Do I really need a surplus of that many coats? What kind of coats we got here? We got 60, 45. Alright, let's just see. Oh, no tools. Oh man. See that? I was talking, not paying attention, playing on 10 speed, and forgot to make my switch. So they got a little bit of a late start. And I'm pretty sure they're still going to get all the harvest, even with one guy. They might miss a little. Oh, chickens. Chickens, people talk about what's the best and all this stuff, and what farm size is the best and all that, and it's not really about it's not always about being the best. Sometimes you can like, if you want to go heavy pastures, if you start out with cows and sheep, it's a lot slower than if you start out with chickens. And then you can take your chicken farms and you convert them. They'll be your pastures will be in place, and then you can convert them to cattle or sheep or whatever you want to do. A lot of people, I like to trade wool coats. So I'll convert a lot of mine to sheep, so I can do that. This is pretty much, this town is saved as far as I can tell. 208 citizens. I'll get my health back up. Pretty much everything looks pretty good. Get the health and happiness back up a little bit. Tools are blinds. Warm coats are. So guess what? We'll disable one of them. I'll keep 2 going. Why not? Put if you ever get slow, you put 20 warm coats in there or something, you know. You micromanage. Alright, about when the rest of it's about timing. Um, when to flip houses on, so your population will build up. You know, see your production right here. That's damn it. I got it on 1 year, so last year I used 21,000, produced 27,000. So hey, that's pretty good. And it's showing. Let's look at his graph. 50 years, you can see, he's got some spikes here. That's a pretty big damn spike right there. It's two pretty big spikes. He probably wasn't ready for that. Let's see. I don't know. Other than that, I think this city's saved. I want to take a. I definitely want to see how many citizens I had at the beginning of the saved. I know, what 100 of them died right off the bat. So, but I just want to see where it was at. I mean, from the graph, you can tell he had it to what was that, 400 maybe, close to 400 right there. So half his population died. You should be able to catch it before. Actually, he should have been able to see these spikes and things like that. Especially children's spikes, because they're added mouths to feed without, really doing the work to feed themselves. So. But anyway, I think that's about all. It's just pretty much a rinse and repeat until, you get, where you want to be, surplus wise. I don't like large surpluses. It hides, it hides things. He never had a large surplus. So he should have caught this, but he didn't. Ain't no big deal. I missed a bunch of times myself, personally. Ain't that big a deal. That's how I learned to rebuild them. Alright. Let me save this. Yeah, I already saved it once, but alright, we're going to load his save. Wait. 214. And when I got the save, it was, I think it was 230. And it was 273. And he had about, I don't know, it was probably 100 freaking deaths. And as you can tell, I'd got back to where it pretty much stabilized, and it was working its way back up. So anyway, hope this helps. Questions, comments, you can rag my sorry plan. I don't care. Good luck.